out. So let's get into the news, talk some injuries, see what's going on in the fantasy world.
News and notes from around the league.
Oh, it's been a long time since we talked Brashad Perryman's hair.
Mercy.
Or lack thereof. Oh. All right. Arian Foster, what is the give me the temperature?
He's practicing.
Limited practice.
Yeah, and that to me is the big difference, because what O'Brien has been saying, and granted sometimes coaches have been known to lie.
What?
Yeah, but he has been saying that Arian's going to go in when he practices in full.
No, he didn't say that.
Yeah, he said that before.
No, John McClain said that.
Well,
Houston Chronicle,
wait,
John McClain said...
John McClain from Die Hard?
From Die Hard?
Yeah, he said he thought that...
He
said... No, it is. It's John McClain, right?
I have no
idea.
idea.
It's John McClain.
John McClain is in Die Hard, yes.
Yeah, he's also the main beat reporter in Houston. And he said that he thought Arian wouldn't start until he practiced in full all week. O'Brien hasn't said that.
All right, so
I call you on that.
All right. Oh, fair enough. You believe Arian is going to start this week?
Yes, I believe that it's starting to trend upward for him. There have been other reporters in Houston that believe he's going to play. McClain's had the most negative view of it with that assertion.
Who would you say is the most respected beat writer?
Yeah, it's McClain.
Okay,
but I'm just telling you, it's an opinion.
Yeah, no, 50-50.
I think he starts.
Do you start Alfred Blue if he's ruled out?
If Foster's ruled out, I think Blue's okay to start. Yeah, I don't think he's like. I don't think Alfred Blue is a home run, because they could. Here's the problem with that, real quick, and I know we'll talk about it a little bit later, but Atlanta could boat race the team, and then you have a lot of Polk on the field. So I'm just not confident. I mean, Blues had one good game out of 3. So, all right, Andrew Luck has a 7.4 quarterback rating when targeting superstar Andre Johnson.
Whoops.
That's a piece of news?
That is probably why Andre Johnson was not on the field as much in the fourth quarter, and they were pulling him. So,
well, listen, Andre Johnson said it's going to take some time.
He doesn't have much time left.
He needs the DeLorean. All right. Crockett Gilmore won't play on Thursday. We just spoke about that. So Max Williams will have an expanded role, but there'll be others involved.
And it's a calf injury. And calf is the new black, as we know, because the calf injuries they are lingerers. They keep people out.
Speaking of calf injuries, I didn't see it on this list, but it should be mentioned. Victor Cruz re-aggravated the calf. He is now indefinitely out for New York, which bumps up Ruben.
It is clearly on the list. It's just at the very bottom.
Oh, you're right. My bad. All right. Bruce Arians says he expects Chris Johnson to still get 15 to 20 touches per game, even with Ellington set to return in Week 4. This is not a good sign.
Well, it's also nonsense, because Bruce Arians every week says he's going to get his running back, whoever it is. I mean, this same report came out about David Johnson last week, right? That he was going to get 10 to 15 touches. Yes, is the answer to that. That he expected.
I don't know if I trust you anymore.
Well, fair enough. Nobody needs to, but it happened. My point is, at the very best, we cannot disagree that he is very hyperbolic when it comes to the amount of touches he's going to get as running back. So I will say this, if Ellington doesn't play, and I think there's a good chance he doesn't, then I believe this report, and I think Chris Johnson will be the man in Arizona.
And a great start.
You think so? Yes. I think it's a bad matchup.
The St. Louis Rams are giving up yardage on the ground.
I just want you to know that David Johnson had 10 touches, so he was true to his word.
Did David Johnson really have 10 touches?
7 carries, 3 catches. I just had to point that out for no good reason.
He didn't even get in the game until like the middle of the fourth quarter, seemed like.
I think Ellington will be limited if he's back. He's not a great start to me. Deshaun Jackson is still not practicing, so that's just an update for you. Shady McCoy and Sammy Watkins are not practicing today, Thursday, and they are both very likely to miss Sunday's game. Yes. I would say McCoy's for me, he's about 95%. And then Watkins is about 90%. So I think they're both probably going to be out, which we'll speak about in our starts of the week. DeMarco Murray, limited practice. If you had to start a guy right now, would it be Matthews or Murray?
Today, it's Matthews. However, DeMarco Murray could be getting a bailout from Mother Nature. I don't know if you guys are following the news of the hurricane going up and maybe having to postpone the game.
Postponed to when? Monday?
Yeah. There's a couple options.
That's like one of the scariest fantasy football situations ever when you hear about postponement.
They're talking about a couple options of Washington and Philadelphia actually have the same bye week. So there's talk of, okay, well, maybe this is their bye week and they actually play in week 8. Or they simply move the game to a neutral location, or they move the game to Monday or maybe even Tuesday. I mean, we don't know what's happening with that.
If they move the game, you don't get points for those guys this week.
That's
a bye week for them. So you got to have
make
correct.
your plans accordingly.
Yeah. If you're in the path of the hurricane and have either of the players on those teams, you better be ready to adjust, because
you better be ready.
if they move it to the bye week, there's no way it would if they move it to Monday or Tuesday, it'll count for this past week.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so Marshawn Lynch is 50-50 to play. So I want to talk about this briefly. One, in the context of Lynch, and then two, in terms of the backup, because I understand a lot of people spent fab dollars on Thomas Rawls this week, but do we really know that Rawls would be the guy?
I think we saw that when Lynch went out. I believe Rawls is the guy. You might mix in a little bit of Fred Jackson, but they didn't bring Fred Jackson in to be the backup. They brought him in to play the role he's been playing, and Rawls is the clear backup, which is, I believe, why they let Christine Michael go, Turbin go. So I would be confident with that. The issue here is it's Monday Night Football. So if you don't have both Marshawn Lynch and Rawls on your team, if you've got both of those guys, then you're fine to wait it out and see. But if you picked up Rawls and you're hoping he starts, you're going to be out of luck if all of a sudden Marshawn plays on Monday. So if you don't have both, look for a different option and play somebody else.
I agree completely.
Okay. Davante Adams is not practicing today. Or I'm sorry, I guess that was on Wednesday.
Yes.
I don't think he's going to practice today either. I read a tweet that he's in a futuristic-looking walking boot, but he does keep denying the fact that he has a high ankle sprain, so we'll see what happens with Davante Adams. I would say he's probably not playing this week. Tevin Coleman is not practicing, which means Devonta Freeman. I got to get my Devantes and my Devantas.
Is it really Devonta?
Yeah, it's Devonta.
Oh.
Yeah.
The more you know.
No, Jason and I spent a long time looking at Devonta Parker, Davante Adams, and Devonta Freeman all spell their name differently.
I know that it's
the
spelling's
first name.
different. I just wasn't sure that it was pronounced different.
So do we like Freeman this week?
Yep.
A lot.
Okay. Alshon and Cutler did not practice?
No, they did practice.
Oh, yep. Yeah, they did. Alshon was limited, and Cutler practiced, and there's some people that are really doubting he could be ready for this week. Do you think he's going to play, though?
I think Cutler had a
case of the Seahawks.
He had a case of the Seahawks.
Yeah, I would have, too. Man, that game for a second there, as a Cardinal fan, I was just hoping.
Well, not a second. It was halftime. It was 6-0.
6-0. All right, Eric Decker missed practice. Drew Brees practiced in a limited fashion, hopes to play. I would expect Brees on the field.
Me too.
Yeah, I think so.
Andrew Corliss,
MCL IR designated to return. So
Richard Rodgers alert.
No,
No, not an alert.
Alert that he's the only tight end, but he is still only going to get a couple targets.
What do you think about Reggie Bush coming back to full practice? He'll be taking over third down role. This has to impact Carlos Hyde.
For the 3 snaps, yeah, before Reggie Bush dies again.
Okay, presuming health of Reggie Bush.
Presuming health.
Is this the time? Would you go sell Carlos Hyde is my question, because Hyde has had 2 mediocre weeks in a row. They're getting boat raced in a lot of games, which means they'll be behind, which is why we liked Reggie Bush in the beginning of the season.
I've been picking up Bush in a couple of different leagues and stashing him for this exact reason.
I think it's smart.
I wouldn't necessarily sell on Carlos Hyde. In fact, I wouldn't sell on Carlos Hyde. I still believe he's going to be very good. If I would go buy still on Carlos Hyde.